So, for my next vlog, I just want to talk about some of the inspiration for In Limbo. I've said before, and I've written about this on my blog, that I've been heavily influenced by comics journalists, and also just memoir in general, because even though my story is fictional, it really reads like a memoir. You're reading an 11-year-old girl's diary entries as she experiences the Syrian civil war. So I had to do quite a bit of research, not only on Syria, but also just on graphic novels as a medium, different types of artistic style, how people draw realistically about other countries and war scenes in particular, and soldiers in particular, how people draw those, but also how they can sort of simplify it. I'm not a fantastic artist. I'm mostly a writer. I love comics and I'm trying to adapt into an artist, but my art is not, as developed as some of the superhero comic art that most people are familiar with. But it was really great for me to go to the comics archive at Michigan State University because they have one of the largest collections of comics and graphic novels in the United States. And I literally just spent an entire day in the archive. I think I read and scanned through probably 50 different comics and graphic novels, spanning across all across the world, international, different styles, different genre, and it really taught me a lot about where I wanted to go with my project, because I've done quite a few mini comics, which are obviously posted on my Tumblr, but this graphic novel really required a different style because it did have the journalism-y feel, and I really wanted to do justice to the culture of Syria and those people, and I didn't want to be offensive in any of my drawings. So when I was doing my research, I came across a few examples of some really great graphic novel pieces that really were doing what I was hoping to do in my own piece. The first one is Kamikaze by Nora Krug, and I found this in the Best American Comics of 2012, and she did exactly what I did in Limbo, and I was really inspired by this. So as you can see, she is drawing kamikaze pilots, and you can see their uniforms, and it's not heavily detailed. There's not a ton of background image or a lot of scenery. And then you can also see that she incorporated real-life photographs, which, if anyone watched my last blog, is exactly what I did in Limbo, and this is why. What I also really love about Kamikaze is that her word bubbles are handwritten, which is not something that you see in very many graphic novels or comics nowadays. Most people do all of their work digitally, and so they just insert text boxes and use that as their dialogue box and their font size. And so I thought that was really cool, and I just really liked the entire feel of her story. It was very much a glimpse into these people's lives. It was very realistic, and then the incorporation of the photographs I really felt added to it quite a bit. And so this was a huge resource for me when I was doing my graphic novel, and I think that many people will see some of the similarities. I really appreciated how her artwork was a little more simple. I think that you can do a lot with simple lines. I think you can show a lot of expression in people's face, even if they don't necessarily look like, highly developed. Especially, I really like this guy right here. All of them. You can just, the style is just very different than many graphic novels that we see. Another really excellent source that I read and used when doing this work was The Golan Heights, and it was an excerpt from How to Understand Israel in 60 Days or Less by Sarah Glidden. And so, a part of my research was researching different styles, but I also tried to focus on graphic novels that did do some work in the Middle East or included that sort of feel and that scenery, because I would be drawing obviously similar things. Here's a great example, more military, some of the landscape of Israel. Obviously Syria and Israel are very different places, but just, the general feel, and I also related to this because, again, the drawings are a little more simple. You can see that the people's faces aren't highly detailed, or anything like that, and again, minimal background. So yeah, those two were really, really, really great and really useful. And another one that I want to mention, which I don't have a copy of with me, was the Burma Chronicles by Guy Delisle. I'm hoping that I pronounced his name right. He's French. But his was definition of comics journalism, and it was all about Burma and the time that he spent there, and the way that he drew it and the way that he described it, I really tried to imitate in my own work, and so I highly recommend reading all three of these. If anyone's interested, I'll post in the description of this video the authors and the names of the books again, so if anyone's interested in reading them, they can see them there. So that's just a little bit about my research and what inspired me to write In Limbo. Hope you enjoyed it.